Meteorologist John Weatherby, Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Right now it's 94 degrees, and taking a check on the market here, we find the Dow Jones Industrial Average in positive territory, up 6 points at 16,393. S&P 500 is up 3 now at 1955, and the NASDAQ Composite is up 12 at 4808. Reporting for Money Radio, I'm Ken Morgan.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We're a weekly show found right here on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM, and we're found on the World Wide Web at moneyradio1510.com. And it's hard to believe that it is today, September 11th, and it's a day that will always live in infamy for all of us. And it's a day that really changed the world forever. And, because of it, we're very resilient. And, unfortunately, we're dealing with our own domestic terrorism here in our own state. And it's very concerning for all of us, especially those of us that travel the freeways. And we're hoping that our law enforcement folks, our civil servants, the ones that help protect us, help find these perpetrators or perpetrator and stop these terrorizing events. I just want to take a moment and just recognize those civil servants, firefighters and police officers, people that give their lives for so many of us. They're the ones that are running into buildings when we're running out. And, speaking of buildings, none of us can lose sight of the atrocity that happened on that fateful day, September 11th, 2001. So, my lost for words. It's just it's a trying time. It's hard to believe that was 14 years ago, and you think we've made such great progress, and then we have to deal with this. So I'm going to switch gears. I want to talk about Health Futures. This is a show that's been on the air now for I'm going to say 18 months, 19 months. We've been on the show for a long time, or on the air for a long time. We've been bringing some great guests to you, all in the healthcare or health-related profession. And if you're just tuning in for the very, very first time, this is a show about how our aging adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And I can't do this show without bringing extraordinary guests on to talk about the many services and the many resources that we have in our community. And this one, our guest today, is no exception. And he's an invaluable resource to our community. And I want to take a second and welcome to Health Futures, Ron Guziak from Sun Health Services. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Thank you, Bob. I love the introduction. Living longer, happier, and healthier. That's so close to our vision for Sun Health to be the leading advocate for healthy living. So I think we're on the same page in what we're trying to promote and how we're trying to use our companies to promote those aspects for seniors, but individuals of all ages.
It's interesting, and I shared with our listening audience that I had the opportunity to write for a publication here. It's a monthly publication. It's a newspaper that comes out. It's called Love and Life After 50. And, it's interesting because I wrote in this article, for our older adults, I wrote that forget nursing homes in 55-plus communities. Older adults really don't want them. older adults want to age in place. And I will tell you, Ron, no sooner than that came out, I received a phone call, because it came out digitally and in the paper form that morning. I received a phone call from a 93-year-old gentleman, Lake Westfall. He told me I could use his name. He lives in Sun City West. And he told me that I take offense to that. And I said, what do you take offense to? He says, 55-plus communities. My wife and I chose to live in one of those for 25 years, and that is our home. And he's exactly right. And I wanted just to share this with you, Ron. I mean, that is really what Sun Health Services does. You have the ability for aging adults to age successfully in place. So I would love for you to share with our listening audience a little bit about Sun Health Services.
So thank you for that question. So we look at what you've just been describing in two ways. One, we have a operating business that provides an option for people who want to be in a tighter-knit community. So these are called continuing care retirement communities. And then we also have the health services and the wellness programs that we provide to the broader communities of Sun City West, primarily Sun City Grand and the surrounding areas that focus on health and wellness. So our objective is whatever your choice is to where you want to be, where you want to call home, we'll help you be as safe and as comfortable and in an environment that best meets your needs. We do know that surveys around the country suggest that seniors, whatever we want to call a senior, the surveys indicate that 90% of the people want to, as you said, stay in their home. Now, whatever that is, whether it's in a age-related community or in their original homestead in Iowa or Pennsylvania or the state of Washington, living near their family, that's really most personal choices. But there does come a time when there's a need for specialized services, specialized care coordination, not just the healthcare aspect, but the other aspects of being safe and comfortable and in a secure environment. And sometimes that can be provided in their personal residence, and other times people do choose to look for a campus, if you will, of like-minded individuals where a lot of the services are really at their fingertips. And I would say at one of our campuses, the Grandview Terrace, the Colonnade, or Loma Village, I like to tell people who are shopping us that my expression is you'll never have to call the plumber again. So there are some great advantages to moving into a campus where you're really well cared for.
Well, you know, Sun Health has been a fixture of the western, or should I say, the northwestern corridor for Arizona, Maricopa County, for a long time. And, you know, its beginnings really probably are deeply rooted with Del Webb's creation of Sun City.
Correct. And
that goes back to, you know, in the 1960s. And you really think about, you know, where we've come and the concentration of aging adults since the 1960s. And I know we're coming up on a break, and I want to get into the next episode to really talk about, you know, the beginnings of Sun Health and what you guys have done and what you've accomplished. And one of the things that you did talk about, and we want to talk more about, is the Sun Health Senior Living, but also Sun Health Community Wellness. And I think what you guys have accomplished there is nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great story and a great transition from one type of business operation to another, and I'll be glad to share the excitement of what all that means now to the residents that we cherish as friends and neighbors.
Well, perfect. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you, and I have the opportunity to have Ron Guziak from Sun Health Services here in the studio with us. It is September 11th. 2015. We will be right back.
You know, they say money doesn't grow on trees, but remember, trees produce timber, and timberland as an investment has risen faster and with less volatility than the Standard & Poor's 500 index. In fact, since 1987 alone, in spite of minor losses in 2010 due to the U.S. housing slump, the NCREIF's Timberland Index has risen 15% per year compared to 9.61% for the S&P. During the Great Depression, in fact, stocks plunged 70%, yet timber gained 233%. And even in 2008, when the S&P lost 38%, the Timberland Index gained 9.5%. Nothing, of course, is guaranteed, but trees do grow every year by 4 to 8%, and they are unaffected by wars, politics, interest rates, and market crashes. Want more information on how to acquire timberland? Call my friend Alex Wilson at Maderas Futura at 855-888-6288, or go online at PreciousTimber.com. That's PreciousTimber.com.
Hearing loss is a growing health issue, with an estimated 1.1 billion young people worldwide at risk of developing the condition. Prevention is crucial to reducing this trend. Limit exposure to loud noises and use ear protection when attending sporting events or concerts. Curb the use of earbud headphones for music or movies to no more than 60 minutes at a time and at 60% of the device's maximum volume. And talk to your primary care physician or other health professional to get a hearing test and obtain treatment if necessary. Common signs of hearing loss include turning up the volume on the TV or radio to levels that others find too loud, having trouble following conversations in noisy environments, or struggling to hear while on the telephone. Hearing loss can cause social isolation and make it more difficult for families to connect. The condition has also been linked to lower earnings, depression, dementia, and higher risk of falls. For more information about this condition, go to www.hearingloss.org. This has been a public service message from the Hearing Loss Association of America, High Health Innovations, and this station.
Most of the listeners of the station have a mortgage of some type. My question is, why? My name is Joe Capitano, Senior Vice President, Homeowners Financial Group. Think of what life would be like if you didn't have a mortgage, that extra cash each month to enjoy or to invest. And I can show you how to eliminate that mortgage in a fraction of the time without changing any of your current spending habits. It's so simple, it'll just amaze you. Call me today, and let me get you back on the road to financial freedom. The interest savings alone could put your kids through college or maybe fund your retirement. Call me, Joe Capitano, 480-305-8545, 480-305-8545, or just go to joeloans.com. Back number 090-6222, MLS number 9826, Equal Housing Lender. That's Joe Capitano, 480-305-8545. That's Joe Capitano, 480-305-8545, 480-305-8545, or just go to joeloans.com.
SRP customers, learn how you could win autographed Cardinals prizes and help plant trees in Arizona land destroyed by fire. Visit srptreesforchange.com.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And if you're just tuning in, I've got Ron Guziak from Sun Health Services here in the studio with us. It is September 11th. 2015, and when we just left our last segment, we were talking about the beginnings of Sun Health, and we're really talking about the beginnings of Sun City West and Sun City, Del Webb's vision. And Ron, you've had a chance over the last 5 years to really learn about this great little town that was created by Del Webb. And this community, because it really is a tightly knit community. And I would really love for you to share with our listening audience about Sun City, Sun Health.
Yeah, so we're obviously very tightly tied to the community. And back in the late 60s, there was a movement of the residents there realizing that they really needed healthcare services because the population had grown so much, and it really was quite a hike from Sun City into the Phoenix area, downtown Phoenix area, to get healthcare services. The Boswell family that owned all the land that Del Webb built on donated significant dollars, and thus we have the Boswell Hospital name, and that was the first hospital facility that was built and opened in 1970. A decade later, we added Sun Health. The corporation added the Del Webb Hospital in Sun City West as the communities continued to grow. And through that time period from the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, just about every imaginative service that you could develop in a sophisticated healthcare system was added to the Sun Health Corporation. But I think also with Medicare as the primary funder, the organization realized that there were going to be some major hurdles moving forward, and we were fortunate, the board was fortunate to find an incredible operating partner in Banner Health, and through a acquisition that changed the complexity of Sun Health into a new organization, and it gave over the responsibility of taking the hospitals that had been developed and were such a cherished aspect of the community that the community really built from the ground up with a lot of philanthropy. That got turned over to Banner Health. They've done a great job of operating the hospitals, but it created a whole new business opportunity for Sun Health. And as a result, we're almost a 50-year-old company that has basically been recreated in the last 7 or 8 years, and that had given us the opportunity to have the merger and acquisitions of the senior living communities of Grandview Terrace, I mentioned, the Colonnade and La Loma Village, and then also to begin to use our resources in a very unique way to find missing links of gaps of services that individuals would benefit from, not just healthcare provider type services, but the wellness services. So we actually have an education program that now has about 2,000 people on a monthly basis walking through our education programs at our community health and wellness center. So we're very proud of how we've done that outreach. And through that process, we're teaching people to care for their health. That's something you do for yourself. When you receive health care, that's something that somebody does to you. We want people to care for their health. They can do it for themselves, and that's a great mission that we have. It's not easy, but we're focused on that.
Well, and it's interesting. When you sit down and you think about and let's just take Sun City, for example, because Sun City was the first,
yes,
and then the others evolved afterwards. I mean, the residents of Sun City, whether they're still with us or here or have since passed, they chose to live there.
Correct.
And I got to tell you, I mean, just making that decision, they're informed enough that they want to live a healthier, more active life. That 55-plus community, if you would. It's not just to go off and, sit. They're very, very active. All you have to do is go there.
I was with a friend, a 95-year-old friend yesterday, and her passion is lawn bowling. And she was very upset because in the past 2 or 3 months I had a little health issue where she was not able to participate in her sport. And of course, summertime, it probably limits it anyway with the heat. But she was very proud telling me that she was going to be able to get back onto the lawn bowling court in another few days, and she was feeling up to it. And at 95, what a great idea that I can do whatever I want to do just the same way I did it when I was 75 or 55 or 45 or whatever, and enjoy my friends and the competition and have that as an outlet. And there's so many examples of things like that. Obviously, there's the golf courses, the rec centers, and everything in between in those communities. But to my point, they've chosen to live there because that's what they want. They want a healthier, happier life. Del Webb had this great social experiment. That's basically what it was. Very true.
Moving all these people into this one concentrated area. When you look at the census, and I just pulled it up right now, it shouldn't surprise you, but 74.9%, 75% are 65 and older in Sun City.
Right,
65 and older, and that was the concept behind it. It was a 55-plus community. But they choose that for the socialization. They choose that for the activities. And really, when you sit down and you think about it, Sun Health Senior Living is perfectly in that space because you have created these communities or acquired these communities to offer that same type of vision that Del Webb had, correct?
So, the Sun Health communities, as you know, the housing is there and the rec centers and all of that. But there does come a time, as I mentioned earlier, where, it's usually in the late 70s, early 80s. Many people say, I've had an incident, a health incident, but I still am independent. but I'd really like not to have to, worry about the yard, the pool, the roof in the house, all of the utilities, and that's the magic of the continuing care retirement communities. And we like to think of it's all governed by the Department of Insurance. So here's a concept. Most insurance that we buy, we hope we never use. We don't want to use our car insurance because that means we have an accident. We don't really want to use our health insurance because that means we have an illness. We don't really want to use our life insurance because that really goes to somebody else, not us. But when you come into a continuing care retirement community, you're essentially buying insurance that you're going to use for yourself from day one. Now think about that as a benefit as opposed to the other types of insurance that we spend a lot of dollars on, but really in a way hope we don't have to use the benefit. So a continuing care retirement community is a great option for people who are ready for that independent lifestyle in a very safe, secure, comfortable environment.
All right, so you and I are in this field, so we know what continuing care retirement communities, CCRCs, are. For the listener here listening in today, explain that to them so that they can fully grasp that, because I love how you talked about, and you made the analogy about insurance, because you're really only talking about moving once, correct?
Correct. So continuing care retirement community, as I mentioned, is a product that's governed by the Department of Insurance. So that's the safety factor that we have to provide to the state, that we're able to actually provide this offering. What a resident who lives with us on a campus gets is a place to live, an apartment, if you will. They have the food service. They have housekeeping. They have all their utilities. Basically, they move into an apartment with their furniture. Beyond that, life is pretty simple in terms of requirements. There's a car service that can take them to the doctor or to an appointment. There's activities directors. There's a beautiful clubhouse activity center so that there's ways for them to socialize with friends. So it really creates a whole different atmosphere for the individual. A lot of it is around sociability, but it's also, again, a comfort, safety net. And for the family, the children of these individuals, it also provides that environment that they know that their parents are going to be well cared for. As then health changes, they can move to skilled nursing, memory care, custodial care, and that's all part of the process. So that's the commitment that we have as part of the continuing care.
And typically, families, and I'm talking about husband and wives, come in together. If they're still alive, and,
correct.
And if one progresses into one of the other areas, if you would, whether it be assisted or skilled, the beauty of it is the other one's still there on campus, and they can frequently visit. They can be a part of it until they can get better and come back home.
That's true. So we see that often, and again, that's a blessing to the individuals, and it's a blessing to the extended family, knowing that the parents are cared for.
Well, it's hard to believe it, Ron, but we're up against another break here. We're going to take a break for our sponsors, and then we're going to come on back and start our segment 3.
Great. Thanks for the questions.
You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We will be right back.
What news is affecting the markets here and abroad? Find out by staying with us 24 hours a day. Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
President Obama at Fort Meade, Maryland, to observe the anniversary of the attacks on 9/11 and participate in a town hall-style forum.
We are inspired by the survivors, many of whom still have the scars, both seen and unseen, of that terrible, terrible day.
Saudi Arabia's Civil Defense Authority has raised the death toll from the collapse of a construction crane at Mecca's Grand Mosque, saying now at least 87 people have been killed. 11 shootings within 2 weeks. Now, 2 people detained by police in Phoenix in connection with possible shootings along I-10. Arizona police fielding plenty of leads.
They are getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls and tips.
There's Sarah Seidner. The 43rd ranked female in tennis, Roberta Vinci, has stunned #1 seed Serena Williams to end her Grand Slam bid in one of the greatest upsets in tennis history. I'm John Trout.
To the guy who's having trouble letting go, it's time. Jean shorts, like your knees, have had their day in the sun. Your color-changing T-shirt stopped changing years ago. And your 92 Samurai is no longer too legit. So it might be time to, quit. The good news is CarMax will appraise your car for free in about 30 minutes. And we'll buy your car even if you don't buy one from us. But the jorts? We can't help you with the jorts. CarMax, the bright side of car buying.
The cloud. It may sound nebulous, vague, hazy, but the value of cloud computing for your workforce can be very real indeed. That's why thousands of organizations of all types and sizes are deploying in the Kronos Cloud, transforming the way they access workforce management solutions to reduce labor costs, improve workforce productivity, and minimize compliance risk. For a clear view of the Kronos Cloud, visit Kronos.com. Kronos, workforce innovation that works.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick, the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
Are you thinking of selling your home? Well, this is Carol Royce of Keller Williams Realty EV with important news for you. My time frame for selling homes is 3 times faster than the average agent. And on average, I get my clients 5% more money. I am so confident your home will sell, I will guarantee it in writing. If your home doesn't sell, I will buy it for a price acceptable to you. That's right, guaranteed. Call me, Carol Royce, today, 480-776-5231, or go to carolhasabuyers.com.
Hi, this is Rick Murray with the Arizona Small Business Association. Join us every Friday at 9 a.m. right here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 99.3 FM for Small Business Edge, where each week we'll explore the challenges and opportunities of running a small business. Arizona is a great place to live and to own a business, and we can all use all the help we can get. That's Small Business Edge, Fridays at 9 a.m. right here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 99.3 FM. Brought to you by the Arizona Small Business Association.
Mondays are the most profitable day of the week. When you listen to Money Making Mondays with the microcap master, Evan Greenberg, Chief Investment Strategist for the Legend Cap Opportunity Fund. For more info, call Evan at 516-662-0303. That's 516-662-0303. Or email Evan at legendcapfunds.com. And tune in Mondays at 1 p.m. for Money Making Monday.
SRP customers, learn how you could win autographed Cardinals prizes and help plant trees in Arizona land destroyed by fire. Visit srptreesforchange.com.
I'm Frank Miller with Your Money Now. Well, the markets continue to rally back from earlier losses as trading begins to wind down on Wall Street. After seeing weakness in the morning, stocks have remained positive for much of the afternoon. The Dow up 0.33%, while the S&P and NASDAQ are up around 0.1% at last check. Some uncertainty lingers in the markets ahead of the Federal Reserve's monetary policy meeting next week. The Fed set to announce its decision Thursday, but analysts are still split on whether the central bank will announce an increase in interest rates. And Republicans continue to fight against the controversial Iran nuclear deal. After facing defeat in the Senate, the House voted 269 to 162 this afternoon to reject the agreement. The votes fell along party lines, with 25 Democrats also voting against the deal. However, it may be a moot point as Senate Democrats were able to block a Republican resolution of disapproval on the deal yesterday. President Obama now has enough Democratic support to ensure the deal's passage, even despite opposition in both the House and Senate. The deal is set to go into effect on September 17th. And that's Your Money Now.
They say every healthy relationship should have a balance of predictability and spontaneity. In fact, it is that assurance of security that makes the spontaneous possible. Your relationship with your car should be a little like that too. With our industry-leading unlimited mileage warranty, your certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz instills a sense of confidence. You drive away knowing that you can keep driving for up to 3 years and never have to worry about the miles. Add to that our complimentary prepaid maintenance on select models, and your certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz becomes the ultimate carefree escape vehicle. Only during the Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales event going on now through September 30th can you receive your first 2 months payments on us on select models plus 3 months of Sirius XM satellite radio. So hurry in today. It might just be the most predictable spur-of-the-moment decision you've ever made.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you're listening to Health Futures. We're in our third segment here today on September 11th, 2015, and I've got Ron Guziak, the President and CEO of Sun Health Services. And when we left off, we were talking about these great CCRCs, and that's continuing care retirement communities that are part of the fabric of who Sun Health Services is today. And we were talking about the three in particular, the Colonnade, La Loma Village, and Grandview Terrace. And we were talking about how it's a wonderful place for our aging adult population to be, especially when they don't really want to care for a lawn anymore, the plumber, and all the things that come along with a homeowner, and really want to have maybe some of the activities available to them at their fingertips. And not only activities, Ron, at the break I was talking to you, and I really want you to talk about this because I'm a foodie, and I know that you got some incredible chefs there because I've had some meals that they've prepared. Talk to us a little bit about the food services there at those communities.
Bob, in our campuses, we know two things. One of the greatest satisfiers is a great meal, and one of the greatest dissatisfiers is a bad meal. So we only have one choice. We have to have great meals. And I eat at all three campuses on a periodic basis, and we do have some great innovation chefs. I mean, it's not a cafeteria where you can prepare the same cycle of food over and over and over again. The residents really want variety. They want quality. They want healthy menus, and those are the things that we really focus on. So it's a big deal for us to have a variety of options for the residents and a high quality meal service, and take great pride in making sure that we're at the top of our game in that area. Very, very important.
Well, and it's been great because we covered over the last two segments. We talked about the senior living option. You talked to us about the Sun Health Community Wellness Program, which is phenomenal, that 2,000 people a month are participating, learning how to live a healthier, happier life which is the moniker of our show. And then, we've got Sun Health Foundation as well. And I want to just take this opportunity because I know that you've been at the helm for a little more than 5 years now, and you've made a huge transformation. And Ron, I want our listening audience to learn a little bit about you and how you came to Sun Health, and a little bit about your background because you're not from Arizona. Tell us about Ron Guziak and how you came to Sun Health, and a little bit about your background, if you will.
Yeah, some of my background might be a little boring, Bob, but I will touch on a couple of things. My first job out of college, I was actually sports information director at a small Ivy League university in New England, and I had never been in a press box. My first day on the job was a Monday, and our game was on Saturday. I'd never been in a press box before. And my boss took me up there and said, well, this is what's going to happen on Saturday. Well, we won our first game by 1 point. We ended the season undefeated. And in the last home game of the season, we had because it was an undefeated team, we had representatives from all the major New England papers, from Boston to Hartford to the New York Times. And we had scouts because some of the pro scouts thought, well, there must be somebody out on that field that is a good player if they're undefeated. And it was just quite an experience to have that as my first option for my initial sports activities. But so a journalism background, worked in healthcare in Chicago at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in administration, at St. Luke's Episcopal Hospital, Texas Heart Institute in Houston, a great experience there, watching Denton Cooley do heart surgery. Most of my career in healthcare was in California at a couple of significant health systems, and always in the administration and around marketing, fundraising, public relations. When I heard about the opportunity at Sun Health, I looked at that and thought, many, many times we had created programs around serving the community, and for whatever reason, the budget just didn't allow us to continue some of those really worthwhile programs. And I understood the opportunity at Sun Health where we could take the resources that we had received from the sale of the hospitals and actually then create programs that we could sustain over a period of time. And our board bought into that and has bought into that. And that's why we have this unbelievable education program we're offering. We have a care transitions program that's been now being funded by an innovation grant from CMS, Medicare. It's the #1 care transitions program in the country based on their statistics that they give us. So we know we're doing a terrific job of helping people stay out of the hospital from a readmission standpoint. And then we use that education back to what I said earlier about teaching people to care for their health. So once they leave the care transitions program and the 30-day effort, they move into the education areas of their interest, and that's where we've seen tremendous strides in medication management, in diabetes care, in COPD, so many areas that people have a chronic issue, especially the elderly, where we've been able to actually change lives. And it's exciting that we can maintain those programs because we have the financial capacity to do it. And it's the right thing to do, and it's serving the community and it's serving it well.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about care transitions, and the Affordable Care Act that got implemented several years ago was really the impetus for so many hospitals and so many healthcare institutions to figure out a way to really cut back on these readmissions. And Ron, I would really love for you to share a little bit more about the care transitions, because it's a big buzzword. It's saving money for health plans. It's saving monies for local government. It's saving money for the federal government. And or should I say the best part of it all is it's providing great outcomes. And it's making people accountable. So I really would love for you, if you could delve a little bit more into that care transitions, because it happens to be a big buzzword.
So we focus obviously on the patients who are at Del Webb and at Boswell. Those are our two hospitals that are in the system, that are in the program that we're working with, and we've adopted a best practice program that was well known around the country, and we've adopted it though for specifically for I would call a senior population. So we start with a RN at the first home visit within 2 days after discharge, and essentially the idea is understanding their medication, understanding the discharge instructions, checking the home for safety issues, for fall prevention, all of the things that we all understand are very critical, but just making sure that happens in a timely manner, and that the individual and the family involved begin to understand the educational piece and how important it is to them to follow the discharge instructions. Basically, that's what you're trying to do. And then it's continual follow-up, but then it gives them a place to call and get answers to questions as they arise. So it's a safety program, but it's terrific in terms of really creating an environment that nobody really wants to go to the hospital to begin with, so why would they want to go back a second time, right?
Well, exactly.
It's impacted hundreds of people in the 2.5 years that we've been operating it.
And you've got CMS supporting this, and as you said, it has by far and away the best outcomes of any care.
It has the
care
strongest reduction of readmission of any of the programs in the country. So from about 20% down to about 6 to 7%.
6 to 7%. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you mentioned, and we'll get back into it when we come back from this break we're about to get into, is the home and home safety. A lot of times, Ron, it's because of what's happening in the home that these people are coming back into the hospitals.
Absolutely.
So it's really important for us to get out into the home.
Very true.
Well, as you hear the music, we're up against another break. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I've got Ron Guziak here in the studio from Sun Health Services. We'll be right back.
There are thousands of publicly traded securities in the United States. Most investors tend to focus on the largest companies traded on the major exchanges. However, there are also many smaller growth companies that historically outperform large company stocks. I'm Jim Gentrip, Principal Partner and CFA Charterholder with Valvista Capital Management. We specialize in micro and small cap growth stocks. You should consider microcap growth stocks simply because they are underfollowed. This leads to great opportunities that many investors overlook. It takes more time to analyze a small company, and fewer published reports means that microcap stocks often don't trade at their full value. This creates price inefficiencies for savvy investors who can spot these undiscovered gems. And do you know what the secret is to finding these gems? Is to consult a professional that specializes in this niche. At Valvista Capital Management, we are the professionals, so call us today at 480-646-4537. That's 480-646-4537.
Laura Bramnick is a real estate agent and a real estate attorney and a consumer advocate. If you have distressed property, a possible short sale or foreclosure, you need more than a real estate agent. You need a good attorney. You're not alone. Laura can help. For more information, visit talkrealestateaz.com or call 480-624-2705. That's 480-624-2705. To talk with Laura, call 480-624-2705.
Hi, I'm Nick Grovich, host of Good as Gold, heard every Thursday at 1 p.m. on Money Radio. I have over 35 years of experience as a professional coin and bullion dealer, as well as a published author of 2 books that expose the inside workings of the rare coin market. Each week I'm going to share with you my tips on how to safely invest in precious metals and what to do if you're one of the 90% that were sold overpriced rare coins. Tune in every Thursday at 1 p.m. as I host Good as Gold, exclusively on Money Radio 1510 AM and 99.3 FM.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org today.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. It's September 11th, 2015, and I've got Ron Guziak from Sun Health Services here in the studio. We're on our last segment. If you missed the first 3 segments, you can catch them up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Push on the radio button up on the top, or you can find it halfway down on our homepage, and you can catch the last 3 segments, as well as you can catch about 76 or 77 others that we have produced since January 1st, 2014. So, Ron, when we left off, we were talking about the home. And sometimes the home is, some of the reasons why people are getting readmitted. And I love the fact that you guys are really utilizing this incredible care transition program. And the metrics that you're getting are right directly from CMS. You were sharing with me that the numbers in readmission were about 20% before you started the program. Now they're about 6 or 7%.
Correct.
And that has a lot to do with your people. And, when you really look at Sun Health Services, as I understand the not-for-profit that you are the commander-in-chief of, you have Sun Health Senior Living, you got Sun Health Community Wellness, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that and how that ties into transition, as well as Sun Health Foundation.
Yeah, it's a great organization because it does have so many ways that we can serve the community. One of the things about the Care Transitions Program, and I had a personal experience because 5 weeks ago I had a total hip replacement, and I can tell you when I left the hospital they gave me about 10 pieces of paper in a loose folder and said, "Here, take care of yourself when you go home." But the Care Transitions nurse came to my house the day after I was discharged with a really nice binder with very specific instructions looked around the house, did all sorts of other things, checked me out, made sure my wife understood some of the things as well, and it was a great comfort, and the follow-up has continued for the 30 days. But many of the people, once they have experience with the care transitions, they admit that they need help in other areas. They've had an incident in the hospital, but maybe they have a chronic illness of some sort. I mentioned diabetes. So that's how we've been able to transfer patients from a home experience into our Center for Health and Well-Being and get them into a class about their chronic condition. And that's where they really begin to understand that they can actually care for their health. They really get the message that if they do these certain things, they're in charge. And that's a huge, huge difference. And we're glad to provide that over and over and over again to the community.
And I want to just ask a question real quickly, Ron. If somebody wanted to reach out, especially about the Transitions Program or the Health and Wellness Program, or even the senior living, who do they contact?
So we got a great website, sunhealth.org, and on that website you can go to any of the specific areas that you mentioned, senior living, the foundation.
I'm on it right now. It's easy to navigate.
Center for Health and Well-Being. We have a new publication with 100,000 circulation that goes out on a monthly basis, and buried within that publication about 4 or 5 pages of information specific to all of the classes that we offer through the Center for Health and Well-Being. Again, that publication is online, called Live Well. We're in our third cycle. We've just initiated that this summer. So sunhealth.org website has a lot of information on all of the things that we do, including the foundation, senior living, and the Center for Health and Well-Being. I will talk about the foundation a little bit because in a lot of ways that's a key part of what we do. We are the philanthropic arm for the 2 hospitals in Sun City, both the Banner hospitals there, Del Webb and Boswell. We still are the fundraising arm for those facilities, and we're proud to be that in playing that role. We also continue to raise funds for the Banner Sun Health Research Institute and its brain and body donation program and the basic science studies that go on there that are world-renowned, and there's information about those programs as well on our website, and you'll hear about many things, especially related to Alzheimer's disease, dementia, Parkinson's, etc., that have been world-class studies at the Banner Sun Health Research Institute. So, again, there's ways to find out more about the foundation programs on the website. We have a gala. We have a golf tournament. Bob's been very generous through his personal commitment to some of our events, and we appreciate that support, as well as many of the companies in the local area and the individuals as well. Just to give you a scope of support, so thousands of people have contributed hundreds of millions of dollars to the Sun Health Foundation. And I'll repeat that. Thousands of people have contributed hundreds of millions of dollars, over $300 million over time, to support the health and wellness programs that we've been describing, the hospitals and all the other services.
Phenomenal.
So this is a rich tradition of philanthropy and volunteerism.
It takes a village, and you've got the village. I mean, you really, truly do. And I got to tell you, the Research Institute, and I had one of your research docs on our show, is, you say world-class, there's nothing that even comes close to it.
Well-kept secret.
And it's been in existence for over 30 years.
Yes.
And initially, you guys, I think it was just brains, but now it's full bodies. You guys are doing stuff on hearts. You're doing studies for Parkinson's. I think the thing that you guys really have the claim to fame for is the fact that you get these bodies less than 2 hours after they've passed away. I mean, nobody collects tissue like you guys do, because the hospitals are strategically really close to the Institute. One of them's right across the street. They bring the bodies in, and they're able to harvest the organs, the tissues, and everything that they need in an expeditious way.
Yeah, the brain and body donation program has been going on for a couple of decades. People actually enroll. They are tested on an ongoing basis. They receive different kinds of physicals so that they can actually understand the progression of illness, if you will, whether it's in their body or or dementia type of issues. And we're out of that program supply researchers around the world, about 200 different researchers on an annual basis tissue from the brain and body donation program.
That's incredible.
So it's a benefit to very many people and very many research projects.
There's so much that I want to ask you, and I know we're coming up really at the end of our show, and Ron, I'm going to definitely have you back. But one thing I want to ask you is, just real quickly, if you can give me in a minute or two, where do you see Sun Health 5 to 10 years down the road? Any new programs that you see offering? Where do you see, Sun Health has gone through a metamorphosis, if you would, the divestiture of the hospitals and the focus in on the senior community and the focus in on wellness and some of the other great things that you guys are doing. But where do you see us going in the future?
So we're really focused on collecting data on all the programs that we offer. So because that way we can launch these to a different scale and be a part of a greater community, if you will, of people with like-minded ideas around health and wellness. So we're pretty new at all that, but we're collecting a lot of information, a lot of data, so that we can really show the value proposition of those programs. So that's something we're very committed to doing in the long run, is growing that kind of concept of the benefit of the health and wellness. In terms of our senior living campuses, we're at 3 campuses. Each of them is going through a transitions and growth. And I suspect that at some point we'll be looking for other opportunities to grow that opportunity in new locations. So we're just at a point where it's exciting because we have an opportunity to continue to serve additional clients, if you will, and a broader community.
And every year you extend an invite for me to join you in the Foundation Board of Directors meeting. And I got to tell you, thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. And really, when I talk about a village, it is a who's who in our community that attend these, and you give the world of or the events of what's going on with Sun Health and what's the future look like. And really, I talk about a village. It takes the village. It takes a community. And bravo. My hat's off to you.
Well, we enjoy having the broad community come and educate us and learn together. So it's our annual board and stakeholders retreat meeting is a prime area for us.
Well, Ron, I appreciate you being on the show. You've given our listeners some great insight as to Sun Health and the resources that you have for our community. First of all, you're doing great 5 weeks post-operation. Got a bionic hip.
That's right.
Make it a great day. Make it a great weekend. Thank you, Ron Guziak. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you.
Thank you for having me.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit cypresshomecare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Wherever you decide to save money, there's always a tax rule attached to it. So the question is, do I pay tax before I save, when I make a withdrawal, or as I go? Join My Smart Retirement this Saturday morning at 10 when certified financial planner Nancy Fleming of Fleming Financial Services will compare the uses of a couple potentially tax-free accounts. Save the right way and tune in to My Smart Retirement this and every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Money Radio 1510
and 99.3 FM.
Is KFNN Mesa Phoenix and K257 CD Phoenix. A familiar voice on Money Radio for years and still answering your financial questions. That's Ray Lucia, weekdays at 10 a.m. The market is up. Dow is up 97 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 9, and the NASDAQ Composite is up 23.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin